And it's a real pleasure to be here to see this opportunity for everyone. This is a wow moment for all of us. And the smiles and the energy in your parents, they're just up there, you can see them. Some of them are bouncing up and down and some are still in their seats, but it's a fantastic day. And when Dr. Wells called me, President Wells, and said that I had won this degree, I started crying like I might do now. And she said, "Are you crying?" I said, "Yes, I'm crying." She said, "Never heard an old man like that cry before." But I was crying because I was thinking of my mother. And my mother looked after me when I was 15, especially because my dad had passed away. And I lived in Sudbury, and once my dad passed away, all hell broke loose. And we did an awful lot of things that we shouldn't have done, but my mother was always there to look after us and my friends. She's a remarkable woman, and I'm so proud to be here today, and I'm so proud to be with you. When you think of it and the opportunities that we have and the things that we go through, I ask the question, is today a good day? Is today a great day? Is today the best day? And I tried to think about that. Where does this fit? I was thinking of my children. You know what? One of the times when they were born, that might be the best day, but I've got 4 kids. It's really not fair. Someone's going to be upset. So I wasn't quite sure, but then I thought, well, I'll speak about my wife, Suzanne. And she's on stream today, so she's listening. And started to think about her, and I have to give you a little bit of background so that I can finish the story. And that was in 1976, after graduating from SPAD, just like you, ready to go, I'm going to get a job. And Dr. Robert Wenzel, the director, got me a couple of opportunities, one with the Toronto Blue Jays and one with the Pittsburgh Penguins. I'm thinking, it gets sweet. This is great. And then someone happened to get me an interview with Procter & Gamble. I went for a few interviews, chatted. A few is like 12, plus working out with the people and spending time with people and doing all this stuff. And I was getting exhausted. On Friday night at 7 o'clock, after focusing on them for over 2 weeks, my boss later, after they hired me, said, "Tom, you might have come from Laurentian. You might have a SPAD degree. I don't know what the hell that is. But I'll tell you right now, I need you to ask this question on problem solving because we think you're weak in that." And I looked at him and I said, "Listen to me. I've had 12 interviews. I've gone out with your people. I spent 2 weeks with you. What I want to know is, when do I start?" And he said, "You start in Oshawa on Monday morning at 7 o'clock. I said, "At 7 o'clock Friday night." He said, "Well, you better get out of here because you got to get moving." So I started with Procter & Gamble, had a great career, and I worked extremely hard in the beginning. I thought school was hard. And I remember like at 10 o'clock at night, 11 o'clock at night, I'm still working, called a friend. I said, "What the hell's going on here? They expect me to keep working? Like I thought I was going hard at school." "Oh, it'll come around, Tom. You'll be okay." Anyways, I didn't have much time, but I used to go out and bring my garbage out to a dumpster where we lived. And I'd moved into this subdivision in Oshawa. And the odd time I'd meet this woman. Her name was Suzanne. This is where you meet. This is a good place for connections, okay? People that give their garbage together can stay together. So I'm with Suzanne and chit-chatting. "How are you?" She tells me she's a nurse. Okay, great. Talked to her. I said I work for Procter & Gamble. Now they're back into the house a few more times. One time she says to me, "Tom, how would you like to come to a skating party? Some of my nurse friends and doctors from the hospital were getting together for a party." I said, "Sure, I can go to a party, no problem." So it ended up, we go to the party. We're walking around before we got on the ice. And she introduced us to me to one of her friends. "Tom, this is Dr. Armstrong." And said to Dr. Armstrong, "This is my neighbor, Tom." Shake hands, "How you doing?" Small talk, no problem. And finally it comes down to Dr. Armstrong asking me, "What do you do, Tom?" And I said, "Well, I work for Procter & Gamble. I'm the Pampers the Pampers, it's funny, sales representative for the Durham region. He said, "You're what?" "I'm the Pampers sales representative for the Durham region." And I could see my wife, Suzanne, just to come out a bit. I'm here, we're standing, and Dr. Armstrong's here. Okay, I don't think she knew I was selling Pampers. Anyways, we went on a few more dates. 2 months later, we got married. And that's how things work. They're fast. You're either in the game or you're not. Let's go. And then I ended up with, at the point, I moved 18 times with Suzanne. We're a little tired. That's why I look the way I do. We have 4 children. That in itself is pretty good. We have 10 grandchildren. But I want to tell Suzanne, who's listening, we've been married for 47 years, and you finally get to go home with a doctor. Now, I know some of you, your minds wander, so that when we got on the ice, Dr. Armstrong, I won all the races. I'm from Sudbury and I played for the V's, okay? So I won the races. And a little chicken wing here once in a while when he's skating by, that's like, who's in charge here, you know? So it's a fun portion. I want to thank a number of people today, just quickly. One is Dr. Robert Wanzel. And what Dr. Wanzel had was, it was not a course, it was not a program. It was a way of getting you the best job possible. He's the one that got me the Blue Jay job and the Penguins. It's like, you got to get ready for game day. You're going live. You got to be ready when you go there. And the course on experiential learning very early on, the things that we did got people to be ready so that when they go in, it's like, wow, when do you want to start? What's happening? He's just been a wonderful person as we've gone through. And then I was with P&G. I was very lucky there. Had a great opportunity. Showed up, made a difference in a few cases, and all of a sudden people were going, "Excuse me, come here." And I became an executive. I thought, how's the Pampers sales rep going to be the executive? How do you work that? It just was a marvelous company to be with. Hired a number of people from Laurentian. We came up regularly to hire people. That worked out extremely well. And we started a company, Optime, that Tony Church had talked about, Dr. Church, and that's done extremely well. Guess who my partner for 30 years was, or is Hugh Gibault, who's here. 30 years. He's a SPAD grad. And we gave him a choice and an opportunity. It was marvelous. He's thinking the CFL, he's thinking NFL, he loved football, he's going to work for. We hired him and offered him a job. He said, "Okay, where do I go?" I said, "We've got you right in Newfoundland. You cover the whole island. It's a tremendous opportunity for you." So he was very excited about that. But he did call a few years later and say that he had got a job with the Ottawa Rough Riders. And he called me at P&G, but I wasn't there. And then after he left Ottawa, we started Optime. And again, it's been going for 30 years. My son, on overlap and staying in the game, my son Marty runs that now as a chief operating officer. Again, we've done some great things. Number 2, we started a company called Sprout. We had a product called The Athlete at Work, and we were putting that into the training that we were doing. And The Athlete at Work was taking athletic principles and applying it to business. How do you win a gold medal? What do you do when you watch film and you go, "Oh, wow, it's so exciting"? Well, how are you going to do that in your job? What are you going to do differently to make sure that you're successful? And that led me to Sprout. And my daughter, Martha, who's here, she was talking about developing an application, because her husband had worked at Hootsuite, that would allow people to scale wellness in companies so people be happier and healthier. So Optime invested, and then after a short period of time, I said to Hugh, "I'll go over and work at Sprout, work with my daughter," and we had a successful run. We sold our company 2 years ago to TELUS, and I'd say it was over the fence. We did extremely well with that. And my daughter, she got instructions from her husband. "You're working with your dad. Do not call him dad at work." We're in a meeting, and, "So, Tom, what do you think?" You know, like, she's very cool, and she's doing her thing, and We abided by that. We sold the company. The next day I called her and I said, hey, let's start using the name Dad again, okay? We're not going with Tom. So we had that. We had the two businesses, and it's worked out extremely well. And one person I'd like to highlight that's here with me today is a person that we hired years ago at Optime and helped us, me especially, at Optime and Sprout, and that's Jennifer Taylor. She's here. She is a remarkable person. And the reason is it's very simple. And if you do this, I guarantee you'll be successful. And that is show up and exceed people's expectations. Make a difference. They expect this, you give them this. It doesn't have to be much. But then all of a sudden people say, you know what? There's something special about you. There's something I really like. And then it's like, excuse me, get over here. We want to promote you. Just exceed expectations. And this woman who's up top here has done it so successfully well. So I thank her for that. After, when we put the people together, the only one I'd like to recognize is Tony Dr. Church. And he's been my boss for 15 years running the sales program I have. And the sales program is about communicating. It's about being in a place where you listen, you ask good questions, and you help other people, regardless of what profession you're in. Nursing, business, it's regardless. I'm going to listen. I'm going to put the other person's agenda ahead of mine. And then when something happens and you help them out, they go, excuse me, get over here. Come this way. And Tony, they looked at opportunities. No one was running sales programs in Canadian universities. And this one picked it up and has been very successful. And as you grow and people here, the more you can work on your communication, the more you can feel that you can interact with people. And it's not this, it's this. You're going to be tremendously successful. So I thank Tony, I thank the opportunity of having all that come together for us. A couple of ideas for you as I wrap up. One is, when I look at what people are saying, not what I'm saying, about your future and your success, number one that comes up is communication. Today's graduates have to be able to communicate. And if you, people in my class, they say, well, I'm not very good at presenting. I said, oh, well, how often do you give a presentation in front of a group? I gave one last year. No, how about every day? How about practicing like you would practice anything else? Learning to listen, asking questions. Guaranteed to help you with success. Number two is working hard. Work hard. Quick story, Tom Greco, hired him. Tom Greco is one of the most successful Laurentian grads. I don't know, there's no ranking, but he started, I remember when he got a new job recently, he started at 23 million, it was published. Some of you wouldn't live on that, your families, I'm sure it'd be difficult, but I think it's probably pretty good. How'd he do it? He worked hard. He was in, and you may have heard this before, I moved him, came to Laurentian, moved him to, where did you say? Scarborough? Oshawa, no, Newfoundland. It's where we put you. It's a good place to keep people. They calm right down after driving that island for a while. So he started, told me he was getting married. I flew out, worked with him. I said, Tom, how long are you working? He said, well, I work about 90, 95 hours a week. I said, you're getting married. You got to cut back. You need balance. He said, listen to me. Don't you ever talk to me that way again. He said, I was home at Christmas, and I was doing my planning and work that we had to do to sell more diapers. And he said to his mother, Christmas Day, he said, no one works as hard as me. And she said, if you ever talk that way in this house, you're not coming back. Your dad was a doctor. He made house calls at 4 in the morning. It's 4 in the afternoon, Tom. Get your work done. And again, if you look up Tom Greco, he's an unbelievable, he was the CEO of Frito-Lay and just a really good person and worked his buns off. We ran an event at the Hall of Fame. He was my guest speaker, had a bunch of people in there. And I said to him after, I said, Tom, are you still working as hard and traveling all over the country, the US and Canada? And he said, yeah, but it's a lot easier when you have your own jet. Tom Greco. And finally, the last one, and I heard this one from Steve Ballmer. Do you know who Steve Ballmer is? Anyone heard of Microsoft? He was the CEO of Microsoft in the early days. Did very well. He left with 51 billion. That's a starter kit for some. And right now, when he was talking on TV about being lucky, he's now at 151 billion. So he's getting by. He owns the Clippers, if you're a basketball fan. He said the number one thing is, I'm lucky. What's that mean? Does that mean all we have to do is, well, it's going to come. Here it comes. Now put a spin on it, and that is, he's lucky, but he showed up. I don't really want to go there. I don't want to be involved in that. And he did this thing, right? No, I don't want to do it. No. He showed up, and he made a difference. And then luck comes in. I built a cottage in near Stony Lake near Peterborough. I'm in the bush, and I'm out there one Saturday, and I'm walking around, and I see this guy in the bush. He's kind of grubby. He's a little rough looking. And I said, hey, hello. And I didn't have any idea who he was. And he looked at me and he said, you're not too happy. And I said, no, I'm not happy. I said, I can't get insurance on my cottage. And he said, well, I could help you with that. And I said, no, it's okay. I've got friends in Sudbury. They sell insurance and I'll be fine. And he said, no, I could help you. And I said, with all due respect, sir, how would you help me? And he said, well, I'm the president and CEO of the Dominion Insurance Company of Canada. We had insurance the next morning. George Cook, he's now the chairman of OMERS. He's very successful. Luck, meeting him luck. Last one and last tale is one of my students that I had in class. We do game day, we bring up companies. I brought a friend of mine up, Tim McGuire. He came up, we were talking about students, and I said, I got to tell you, this student is absolutely fantastic. Why do I say it? Because she exceeded expectations. She exceeded mine. She showed up, but she exceeded expectations. So all of a sudden, I'm talking to her about him. He spent 27 years at McKinsey. They only recruited from Ivy League schools. And I said, you need to look at this person. Her name's Dania Johansson. She's here today. Hired her after 2 years of working with him. He said, I've recruited all over the world. I've hired the best students. And this is a credit to Laurentian and a credit to you. And he said, she's the best person we ever hired. Now, because everything's overlapped and who you meet and who you see and where you go tonight and why is that person there? You'd be lucky if you talk to them. If you walk away and you're not in the game, you don't know who they are. She teaches the SPAD championship selling course now. It's all intertwined here. Look for opportunities. Those opportunities are there. Listen to me. I want to personally thank you for what you've been through. The school and financial difficulty and COVID. God bless you for being here. Let's give them a clap because you guys are fantastic. If you can get through that and your parents can get through that, it's absolutely remarkable. I love the university. I love everything that's happening. I love all of you. We're going to have a great day. And guess what? I think today is the best day. So good luck to all of you, and thank you so much.